Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something really profound, beautifully complex, and honestly, kind of confusing. We're talking about the twin flame connection. Look, if you're watching this, there's a really good chance you've actually felt it. That intense, unexplainable pull towards someone else that just totally defies logic. But here's the catch. Along with that amazing connection usually comes a deep sense of isolation, confusion, and some seriously wacky timing. You might feel like you're completely awake to this bond while the other person is, well, totally clueless. If that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to map out why this happens, how the actual mechanics of this spiritual connection work, and most importantly, how you can navigate the whole shebang. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so we've got this phrase right here that pretty much sums up the whole dynamic. Two hearts, one soul. I mean, it sounds incredibly romantic, right? Like something straight out of a movie. But when it comes to the actual timing of a twin flame awakening, this beautiful concept brings a pretty heavy reality check. See, because you share one soul, the natural assumption is that you should experience everything at the exact same time. You expect perfect synchronization. But the reality? The reality is that while the soul is one, those two physical hearts are beating out two completely different human experiences. And because of that, the awakening almost never happens for both people at the exact same time. Actually, it's way more common for one person to wake up long before the other one does.
So that brings us to the burning question, doesn't it? Why do twin flames rarely awaken at the same time? I mean, if you literally share the same soul, why is there such a massive, painful disconnect in what you're both aware of? Listen, if you've been agonizing over recognizing this connection while your counterpart seems totally oblivious, I want to validate that for you right now. It is completely normal. The confusion, the pain of this mismatched timing, it's practically built right into the twin flame design. You both start awakening at different times because, well, you're meant to. To get why this timeline is so out of sync, we really need to break down the specific roles each half of the soul takes on during the early stages.
All right, let's break down these roles, starting with the energy that usually kicks off the whole journey, the divine feminine. And just a quick aside here, remember we're talking about energetic terms, not biological gender. So the divine feminine energy is the one that suddenly opens up to the spiritual reality of the bond first. If this is you, you're the one who starts seeing all the synchronicities. You're noticing the signs literally everywhere. You're feeling that undeniable, deep soul connection right down in your core. You are basically the pioneer of the awakening for your shared soul.
But then, on the flip side of the equation, we have the divine masculine. And while the divine feminine is wide awake, reading all the signs, the divine masculine is usually experiencing something entirely different. They might still be completely asleep, they might be operating entirely in what we call matrix form, which basically means they're totally grounded in the everyday physical world, societal expectations, the 9 to 5, and completely unaware of the spiritual dimension. Or, and this is the really painful part, they might actually be actively running away from the connection. Why? Because the intensity of the bond just feels way too scary. This is absolutely crucial to understand, guys. Their running away isn't necessarily a rejection of you. It's often just a terrified reaction to a massive connection that their current mindset literally cannot process yet.
I know that separation can feel incredibly discouraging, which is why this next point is just so reassuring. You are headed to the same place, but you walk through different paths. Really let that sink in for a second. You're headed to the exact same place. Despite the painful disconnect, despite one of you being wide awake and the other hitting the snooze button or running for the hills, both halves of the soul are ultimately journeying toward the exact same destination. The destination is totally unified. It's just the terrain you each have to cross to get there that's unique to your own human experience.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the sheer duality of these two journeys. Look at how wildly different they are. If you're the awakened one, the divine feminine, your path is super internal. Your journey is heavily focused on self-love and deep spirituality. You're out here doing the ethereal, energetic, emotional heavy lifting. On the other hand, look at the divine masculine's journey. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. While you're doing deep chakra meditations, their version of spiritual growth might look surprisingly like obsessing over their 401k or finally cleaning out their garage to build some stability. They are doing the physical, grounded, structural heavy lifting. But the thing is, both of these paths are absolutely necessary for the soul's ultimate evolution, even if they look like total polar opposites from the outside.
So, you might be wondering, if we share the exact same energy source, why are our earthly lessons so drastically different? Well, there are 3 distinct reasons for this. First, different soul understandings. Even though you come from the same source, the way you each process and interpret reality in this lifetime has developed in its own unique way. Second, different past lives. You both carry different historical and karmic baggage, and that requires highly specific, individualized healing. And third, different physical world lessons. In this incarnation, you came here to master different aspects of being human. One of you needs to master spiritual openness, while the other might desperately need to master grounding and breaking down the ego. It's like one energy source, but two completely separate curriculum plans in the school of life.
Because of these wildly different curriculums, the synchronization doesn't happen all at once like flipping a light switch. Instead, the awakening usually happens in waves. Just pause and let the spiritual weight of that settle for a moment. It happens in waves. It's a rhythm, a tide, a continuous energetic exchange. Doesn't that completely shift the narrative? Instead of looking at your counterpart's unawakened state like it's this giant, permanent brick wall, you can start to see it as part of a really beautiful unfolding process. You're just riding the first wave. Their wave is still building out there in the ocean, just waiting for the right energetic pull to bring it to shore.
So how exactly do you create that energetic pull? Let's walk through the mechanics of what we call the mirror effect. Step 1 is entirely about you. Do the work to heal yourself and find peace. Notice what it doesn't say there. It doesn't say convince them or text them 50 times or chase them down. It literally just says heal yourself. When you do that, you trigger step 2. This internal healing sends a distinct vibe, an energetic frequency, directly over to your counterpart, and that brings us to the final step. That specific vibe, that invisible energetic wave you sent out, purely by finding your own inner peace, is exactly what helps them wake up too. Because you share a soul, anytime you elevate your own personal frequency, it inevitably ripples right over to them. It mirrors your healing back into their life. Which brings us to what I think is the most empowering truth of this entire explainer. The whole point of the twin flame journey is focusing on your growth. When you align with yourself, they eventually align too. The ultimate key to navigating this crazy connection is not agonizing over their timeline. And it is for sure not chasing an unawakened partner. The real secret here, the profound reality of this path, is achieving total self-love and self-alignment. By dedicating yourself completely to your own spiritual growth and your own inner peace, you are doing the absolute most effective thing possible to draw your twin flame into their awakening. You align, and the mirror reflects that alignment. It's a real game changer. Which leaves us with this final, vital thought to chew on. If your personal alignment is the very mirror that sparks their awakening, how will you choose to love yourself today? Remember, every single step you take toward your own healing is a step taken for both of you. So maybe it's time to stop looking across the divide and start looking inward. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this empowers you to step fully into your own beautiful path. Take care out there.